Hi, I'm Dr. Barbara Freedman, and I'm here to talk to you about this wonderful tool that's available to us all called Soundtrap. Now, I've been teaching electronic music and audio engineering, basically music technology, music composition using technology, and I've been teaching at Greenwich High School in Greenwich, Connecticut since 2001. So we've been doing this program for a long time. As a matter of fact, it started in 1969. Looked a little different then. So through the trials that I went through in 2001 and all the changes that went on in technology, I actually wound up writing this book, Teaching Music Through Composition, a curriculum using technology. It's published by Oxford University Press, and we're going to use some of those lessons there today, but we're going to adopt it for online learning. We're going to adopt it for hybrid style learning and specifically using Soundtrap. I had to use Soundtrap when we went online in March, and they are just wonderful. It is a wonderful company. They are very responsive. Their tool is fantastic. And so I want to show you some good tips, some ways to get around Soundtrap, some tips for teaching, and give you some lessons that could get you started. So let's take a look inside of Soundtrap to get an idea, and then we'll look at some other things about Soundtrap. See you later. So let's take a tour of Soundtrap. When you set up your account, you're going to set up an EDU account, and you are a user, a trial user. It shows you a lot of things. Everything you ever wanted to know is probably in a pull-down menu. And here you are. You even have a mailbox and some settings here. You can type in some stuff about yourself. This is the social end, or what I call social music portion of Soundtrap. If you're not in EDU, then Soundtrap makes all of its stuff available to other members of Soundtrap. Remember, this is a very large community. This company is now owned and run by Spotify. And so they're trying to appeal to a very, very, very wide, broad audience. It's not just about music production and music education, but they have a very wonderful music education site. And the advantage of having an EDU account is that your students are all in what's called a walled garden. That's what they call it. So I create accounts, and I won't open these because I don't want to reveal student information, but you get default groups, and you can add your own, create a group. So I created groups according to my classes. I had 4 sections of intro, a couple of honors classes, some what we call songwriting and recording, and supreme music. That's just a little club of kids doing stuff. So we have different classes, basically, or what they call groups, and I put my students in a group. All of the students are all actually able to interact with each other. So a student in Intro 1 could interact with an honor student, and they could collaborate on a project because they're all in my walled garden. So I'm showing my groups, and if another teacher, and we can create groups together. So there's a lot to learn about that. The EDU lesson, I want to show you lesson plans because they actually have them. You can filter through them. Remember, this is not specific to music technology or music teaching or music education, although they have a whole section on music. If you scroll down, they certainly do have a section on music. And they have some very, very good lessons. Take a look at them. Grab them, steal them, use them, as I'm going to give you some lessons today to use, and there's a lot going on. Could give you some ideas. So I'm just going to scroll quickly to the top. It also tells you how many days you have left. So this is on my trial version, and our district is purchasing a plan on the next purchase order, year-end stuff that we're doing. So there's a whole bunch of resources also, which actually is how-to stuff, videos, courses, things like that. So make sure you look at that. The admin page, I don't want to open up because what it's going to reveal to me is all of my students, a list of my students. So you can manage your students in this admin. It's very powerful, very robust. You can filter out students and things like that. You could see a demonstration of that in one of the Soundtrap videos. So here's the main thing that we want to talk about, and these are my projects. So when you first go to Soundtrap at home, your homepage is going to open up to your projects. So your projects are listed in folders. Now remember, Soundtrap was originally created for a single user to use and interact in this kind of social music world, so people can interact and work with each other. And so somebody in California could work with somebody in India or New York and all over the world. So that's the idea. And then teachers started using it, and so we needed it for our kids. So I use these folders for my assignments, my sections, and the assignment that they're doing. I create little folders. And I'll show you in another video coming up how to create an assignment so that it creates all of these folders. So that's a general overview of the EDU section of Soundtrap. So let's start a new project and take a look at what the studio is like. So there's a couple of ways that you could get there. You could do Enter Studio, or you can hit Studio up here in the upper right corner. But let's go to this great big button right in the middle of the screen, purple button, and click on it and Enter Studio. And what it will do is create a blank document that you can work in. So we're just going to deal with these music documents right now. You could create a podcast. That's a whole other story. So let's do music right now, and let's just get a general tour. So you can add a track by clicking here, right? And you have the file settings. You can open up the pull-down menu and the edit settings and other kinds of settings that you can do for more advanced settings. And of course, there are tutorials. These will take you out of the studio so you can get some tutorials on what to do. And the ever always important save button. Just make sure you know that. So there's some title your song if you like, and there's a share setting, and of course they can always upgrade, right? And exit the studio. So let's just start. Also take a look down here. You have a volume button. This is the indicator of how far in the piece you are. Take a look. I'm going to click and hold and move the scroll bar, and you'll see it move, and this is timed. Right now I'm looking at beats and measures, and this is way down here, once again, is your play, stop, rewind, play, that's record, red record button, and fast forward. There's a key signature, tempo, you change the tempo. Is the metronome on or off? And some settings for the metronome, like there's the count in. Do you want 2 bars or 1 bar? I generally like 1 bar. I like to set that. That's the overall volume, and you can change what your metronome sounds like. Different settings for you to choose that. You can pick through that. There's the loop browser, patterns or beat maker, playing the synth, add a new track, import a file, all sorts of things that you could do in any of these exterior menus you can do right here by clicking on one of these buttons. Let's take a look over here. This looks like an upside down magnet, because what it'll do is it will attach things to the grid that you have here. It'll just line things up to a grid, and you can change the grid size. And you'll see that here, and you could change some time signatures. Right now, you're pretty much restricted to something that's in some sort of duple time or 3 time, like that. And your ruler can be changed from beats to time, and that's pretty handy to look at how many seconds you have going, or are you going to be dealing with beats? For beginning students, we deal with beats, and like that. And this is a little loop section that you can set once you have some things in here recorded. So this is a cycle area is really what that is. So let's start by, let me just show you up here. These are your loops, and there's all kinds of loops that you can get. And here you can preview the loop. Pretty cool. And you can, some of them are free, some of them are not free. So you, I think the EDU account includes a bunch of free things. You could choose the scale if you like. You can certainly add things to favorites by highlighting it there, and then you can see your favorites and just see what you have in your favorites or not in your favorites. You can use these as filters to say, okay, well, right now I'm in my loops, and the only thing I want to see are the piano loops as a possibility. So some sort of keyboards, I guess those are not just keyboards, but synths and different genres of music. So it's a good thing to explore that, and some other things that you may have free for you are good. And there's a bunch. There's a lot going on here. You could scroll down and check that out. So loops are good. I do stuff with loops, especially when the kids are just starting out. Using loops are great because they can have success right away. Using loops are really great for kids who are younger, and that you're not teaching actual composition, like teaching kids how to do melodies, or teaching kids how to play on the piano keyboard or other kinds of input devices. Loops are excellent to highlight tracks. Loops are great for backgrounds, for making podcasts. Loops are absolutely wonderful and fine and great. In my classes, we use loops a little bit. And then we only use loops for sound effects because I want my kids composing. It's just the the direction that I go in. So you have to choose your direction. So here we go. Let's keep going here. Let's add a new track and see what we have. And by the way, I can close that loops button and we'll add a new track and see what we have. So let's just go with the piano keyboard just to show you what we have. There's a whole bunch of stuff. You can shift the octave because here, see, I can click with my mouse and do that. And you'll notice here Z, X, C, V. That's the QWERTY keyboard. And I'll show you that a little later, how that works. How you change the instrument is you click here, and here I am. Even though I clicked on pianos, I could change this now to the instrument choice, and I could change to other kinds of pianos, right? These are the free pianos and different things that are available. And you'll notice as you scroll up or scroll down, it will change from this other instrument choice through the different kinds of pianos and different kinds of instruments that you have available. So this is the instrument view, and then this is the piano roll. So once you have things in here, you can certainly pencil things in. I don't like to show my students how to pencil things in because I like them to play, so I don't like to show that little tool. That's what that is, and how to edit things in the piano roll, and I have a whole video on that. That's available to you, and how to do things called quantizing, which is also available to you. There's a lot of different ways you can edit up here in the main window, or what is called the arrange window. You can quantize right here. So I can choose everything that's in here. I don't have to choose this. I can just choose from here. It assumes that I mean everything. And I'm going to quantizing means snap to the grid. And the grid that I'm choosing are quarter notes. And it should snap everything there. Maybe it's just the one that I'm doing. All the quarter notes, all the eighths, all the sixteenths, or half notes. And you see they might have shifted a little bit there for you. And I can move things in and click and hold and move things out. And once I've done that, I can loop. And these are some of the basic principles behind any digital audio workstation, as Soundtrap is. And of course, one of the most important things you could possibly do is save your work. And it will save this as the untitled song. And if I double click, I can save it as Freed's test file. And yes, my students call me Freed's. And that's it. And I click out to get here, and be careful where you're clicking, right? And hit save, because you always want to save your work. And it does this thing called mixing. I don't know if you could see that there. It takes a while for it to go to its servers and do its thing about saving and mixing. So sometimes if you're working on a file and then you immediately click back to go to your home page, that's how you do it, it might not show up there yet. It's still mixing. When people are collaborating, also it mixes. So this is a great little thing. This is just a quick tour of the layout of Soundtrap. And remember, you can enlarge your screen, and you can enlarge here. We have two different windows and split windows. And this is just some of the things that you can do and spend some time in Soundtrap. So one of the great things about Soundtrap is that you can create a file, and then you get a link specifically for a class. And then you can send that link to all the students in the class, the same link. And those kids click on that link, and it takes them into their account. When they're in their account, whenever they save the file, it automatically gets named the kid's name, and then it's in one folder for you to use. So you're going to create an assignment file and send it to kids so that they click on the one link and they all create their own file. So that's pretty cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to enter the studio to show you how to do that. And so I'm going to enter the studio and choose music. I'll add a new track now. You don't have to, I don't think. You could probably just save it and send it to them. Sometimes it's good to just let them choose the file. So for instance, I want kids to be able to know how to choose a file and add a track. So even if I send them a file like this, I could say, okay, add a track, and then they'll have to do that. But here it is. Here's my blank track, and I don't even change the tempo because sometimes that's in my assignment instructions, is for them to change the tempo, so I know that they know how to do that. So I'm going to hit save, and now this is saved, but it doesn't have a title. So what we're going to call it is test class 1. Let's try that just to save it. And I'll click outside. I'll put my cursor, the scroll bar back, and save again. So now I know that this is saved. So let's go back to the EDU setup and see how this works. So this is going to load right here. It says save. And now I'm going to come here. Let me scroll up so you could see. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this file, and I'm going to create an assignment out of it. And I've created an assignment, and the assignment is called, automatically it gets named an assignment and the date, and there we go. And so I can share the assignment now if I wanted to, and if I click on share, you could share in many different ways. You can get a link. Well, first I'm going to do is I want to show you where that is. So here's test class 1, right? So let's scroll all the way down through all of my folders, because all the folders go right to the bottom. So you're seeing a lot of stuff that I did this past school year. This account is still open and live. The folder at the bottom is going to be your new folder. And if you look inside the folder, and how you do it is you click on the folder here. It's counterintuitive. You don't click on the name because that actually renames it, but click on the folder to open the folder, and there it is. So here it is, saved, all this business, and I could come here and I can share the assignment now. So it's the same as if I had done it before. I'm going to get this. Let's use a link. So I'm going to create this link. So I'm going to copy this link, and this is what I put in an email to my students if I want to, or you could share it in any number of ways. You copy this link. Now, I'll give you a quick tip. I suggest what you do is you copy these links and you put them into, let's say, a spreadsheet or a document or a Word document, a Google Doc, and you keep track of your links. So I created some links for myself, and you'll notice here is I created a Google Doc just so I could keep track of what class got what. So this is the link to our Schoology assignment. So we use Schoology, and that's the assignment that is parts of the drum set. And I'll show you that a little later today because you're going to get that. And then I have 4 sections of intro that use this. So for each one of the sections, I created my own assignment and then sent that link to this section. And then for every single one of my assignments, my lessons and assignments, there was where the kids could get it as far as the materials in our learning management system. You could give them the link in any learning management system, Music First or Canvas or Schoology or even a Google Classroom link, whatever your assignment page is. And then this is the Soundtrap file. So that's a good tip. Keep track of these, especially if you're creating for multiple classes. So these were all of these lessons and links that I gave to my classes. So every time I have I create an assignment, that's for this class. So I would change this name. I'd come in here and I'd change it. And I would say that this is now, you could leave the date if you want, but this folder is really for my intro class section 001. Here's the date if I wanted to, and I could say test class 1 and hit save, and that is the folder. So I would share this link. See, share assignment, click there, pull down menu, get a lot of different ways. I share the link, I copy my link. Remember, I put it back into my Google Doc to make sure I have it, and then email it, share it with the kids, whatever it is. When they get this and click on this, then they will automatically, when they save, it will go into this folder. So I would create the same one. I'd go back up here to the test, all the way up here to test class 1, and I'd say it again, create an assignment. Same file, right? So what are you going to do? What am I going to do? Share assignment, right? So that's fine. It's in there. And scroll all the way down. You're going to see what Soundtrap does automatically, which is groove cool. There it is, a brand new folder. And you bet your booty it is going to be a completely different link than the first link. It just is a completely different link in a different folder. So now I come down here and I will rename this intro 002, and there it is. And I will keep and hit save, and I will keep doing it. And I can always keep coming back to this file here, and I could share the assignment and send the link, but I'm keeping track of it in a Google Doc. So that's how you create assignments, so that you share those links with your students and all of their assignments aggregate into one folder. So now we have an idea about how to use and get around Soundtrap a little bit. You should explore it yourself, absolutely. And I want to show you now some lessons that you can use in your classroom, how to get kids started, how to start to engage them. And I have a whole bunch of lessons and supplementary video. So let's take a look at my materials now. So I've created a page for you, a resource. This will be available to you as a PDF. It's also available as a Google Doc, and you'll get the link for that. So you can have some contact information for me and how you can follow me on Facebook and Twitter, and of course, Soundtrap, the link to get there. Request your EDU account. Student assignments to get them started. These are Google Docs, and I will also share them as PDFs so you could see them, but the Google Docs will allow you to see the video as well and get the links to the video that you need in YouTube. And here they are, Music Ed Tech, that's me, and my YouTube playlists. And there's the Soundtrap video and music theory and teaching music. And just to get through this page, more resources, stuff that you could get. And right down here at the bottom, just because I think my students are wonderful and they did such great work. This was our virtual composer showcase. We do it every year. And there's some stuff in there that kids made using Soundtrap and otherwise. So they're just great kids. I want to show them off. So let's take a look. Here is my YouTube soundtrack playlist. You will see there are 51 videos. These are the videos that I created for my students. Oops, let's scroll right to the top for a second. Tips and tricks and things and creating a Soundtrap account and all this stuff that's down here. I will give you one little tip if you are creating your own videos. I highly, highly recommend that you keep them short. Most of my videos are less than 4 minutes long. So you'll see here's recording a techno beat and it is just under 4 minutes. And then there's part 2. And then we did a part 3 or part 1. Yeah, it's sort of a little out of order here. And there's also Latin instruments and how to create other kinds of recording a hip hop beat in Soundtrap. So we try and keep them under 4 minutes. Sometimes they go a little longer. That's something for you to do. Just break them up into 2 parts or 3 parts. Studies have shown that you can, kids and people actually prefer to see shorter videos. So that's the Soundtrap link. That's my playlist. And this is the playlist for music theory at the piano keyboard. Basics of the piano keyboard, because I like kids to see it there. And this works its way into some of the lessons, not all of the ones that you'll have, but beats and rhythms, understanding rotation, and something called the chord map. And here are some others, teaching music with technology. It's just some other things. This is available in my YouTube playlist. And they certainly do relate to the lessons. So you're going to see the lessons now and how they work in Soundtrap. So if you click on the link and you go to the Google Doc, what will happen is you will be forced to make a copy of this document, and it'll just ask you to make a copy, and it'll show up like this. So I'll give you a little tour of this copy. Basically, you watch the video. So down here is a link to the video. Now in Google Docs, it won't exactly take you there, so it won't play in the doc, but it will take you to the YouTube video like that. So you'll get to see it. You can embed it however you like to embed it or get it into your LMS. And so this is just the lesson here. I'm going to walk you through these lessons, not in the Google Doc, actually. My school uses Schoology, the learning management system, and I'll be able to show you exactly what you see here. It's exactly in this order for all 3 of the lessons that I'm going to show you, minus or with typos. So here we go. So here's the first one, and you'll see this was the lesson I gave to my students. And I start with a little video intro, and here I am. Good morning, it's Dr. Freedman. How are you doing today? Welcome. It is March 30th, Monday, the 3rd full week of online learning. So today, this morning, first of all, welcome to my home recording studio. I'll talk more about that another time. Yes, so that was my makeshift studio. I've gotten a little better in my build these days, as you could probably see. So what I asked the students to do is actually watch some videos. We're going to be focusing on is doing parts of the drum set and recording drums. They're just getting their feet wet, like just recording some drums, because they're going to have to learn about rhythm. They're going to have to learn about quantizing. They're going to have to learn about how to record. They're going to have to learn the software. All of this is all while they're using Soundtrap. Now, this little video intro is because we were online. If you're not online, if you're in person, go ahead, do the video, do your intro in person to the kids. Let them do this kind of thing. You might consider instead, if we're in a hybrid situation, which I think a lot of people might be, or as opposed to being completely online, that you will do your intro and let the kids do some work. Flip your classroom. Give them all these materials so that when you see them, you can actually address problems. You don't have to concern yourself with actually teaching the lesson. But what they do is they are charged with doing the assignment. It's kind of like homework. They learn about it. And then when they come to class, you could sit and say, Jack, you had a problem here, or, Jane, what's going on with you? Or Robert, what's up? And you could check it out and check with the kids individually. So I have the kids watch some of these videos. I did not include them. They're just some YouTube videos. I'm happy to share them with you. But this is where the nitty-gritty starts. So this is the introduction to Soundtrap. This is an overview. This is the video I made. I highly recommend you make your own because it's great for the kids to see you giving them a tour. There's lots of different videos out there for you to grab. If you don't want to make your own videos, you can use mine. You can use other people's. You can break it up. So here we are. They have to record some drums, right? So I'm going to try recording drums. The idea is that I just want them to hit the keys, hit the record button, and try something. So that's all I want them to do. After they're finished, they watch the 3 videos. They now know what a bass drum, snare drum, hi-hat, cymbals, all that stuff is. And so these are just pictures. They're just pictures that show them how to add a drum set to a track, select the 70s kit. Do not use, this is the assignment. You could alter it however you want. This is just information. Basically, they're setting a tempo. They learn how to set the tempo. That was in the overview that I showed them. All of that's in there. So now they've watched the video. They have to go figure this out. And because they get some screenshots that also help them figure it out. So hopefully they've watched it. If they haven't watched the video, they'll figure it out. So you save their file. And here's a video of the drums in Soundtrap. So you have a link to this in your Google Drive. And here's the video. I'm not going to play it in its entirety, but you get an idea, hopefully. Hi, this is Dr. Freedman. I'm going to show you how to set up and play the drums in Soundtrap. So I'm going to add a track, and I'll select drums. And the default setting is to bring up this vanilla machine, and go to patterns. I'm going to go to the instrument setup here. Now you can change the instrument from the default setting, and I'm going to click on the icon. So of course I could explode this view and you could see it there, but this is just to show you that the videos are embedded right here into the lesson, and that the drum patterns, remember we use the QWERTY keyboard, right? The computer keyboard. Where do they find the bass drum? It's the letter A, right? The letter Q, the letter E. And this particular layout I couldn't find anywhere. I had to make it myself. So this is right here for you. You can grab that and just use that. You can probably just click and hold and drag it and use it however you like. So feel free to use that. These are like extra sounds. Depending upon what drum set you choose is the different quality of sound for these and what those extra sounds actually are. So there's a little YouTube video I found online, and what they really want to do is they want to watch the video. Watch somebody. Don't skip, because he talks about some good things. I'm not the only person who has good things to say. There's a lot of people out there who have good things to say. Very valuable. So he starts to play a drum beat at about 2 minutes in. And so what I want the kids to do is try playing the beat. Now, it's kind of hard because what they have to do is use all 3 fingers. Let's just see if we can get that going and take a look what he starts to do at 2 minutes in. Now, in the classroom setting, if I were with my kids in the classroom, I would have shown them this in the class. And I would have said, okay, you go ahead, you try this. Just play the hi-hat by itself. Play the bass drum, snare drum. Put this together. Let's play it together. Bass drum, snare drum alone, and then hi-hat and bass drum, snare drum together. And I would have gone around the room and physically shown them how to do this. We have to do stuff with video now. So, they still get this assignment. They have to watch the video. It's just a little easier. If you want to make a little video showing them how to play, just
add some hi-hat.
And that's basically what I want them to do. Just play the pattern and click the record button and just start to play it. The idea is they're just trying to play. Do not erase it. Skip a measure and start again. They're not being graded. I don't even ask them to slow the click down. They just go and try it. And I think I did ask them to slow the click down. I can't remember. Save after every attempt of recording. The important thing is that no one in the class is going to listen to the recording. And I'll be honest with you, when I'm teaching live, I don't even listen to their recordings. I just look at the screen to see if they recorded it. So you can tell them that, I just want to see that you tried something. It doesn't have to be perfect. There's something about hitting that record button for the first time and kids trying to do something and trying to commit it. What's really good about that, though, is a lot of kids go back and try again, go back and try again. So in a classroom situation, I don't give them a lot of time to do that. Some kids don't have a problem working hard and working at it. Other kids get really self-conscious and have an issue. So that's the first lesson. And if we go back to our copy, we could go back to the second lesson, reading and recording rhythms. So you'll have the same thing. You'll be forced to make a copy. And let's just take a look at what that is. Reading and recording rhythms in Soundtrap. Again, there's a lesson, the overview of the assignment. If you're in person, go ahead and do it in person. If you prefer to teach from the front of the room and then let students work in your classroom, the advantage to that is they have less homework. I like to give them this in the hybrid session. So I made myself some student videos. I'm looking like I'm in my cave there, right? It was a little cool here. The purpose of the assignment is to understand the grid in Soundtrap and how to quantize. In other words, selecting notes and choose to automatically align to the grid. The idea is to get things lined up to the grid. As a preliminary exercise, we're going to Chrome Music Labs, link below, and explore creating rhythms along the grid. So I do love this Chrome Music Lab. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. There's a video here. You should watch the video. If you're not aware of Chrome Music Lab, rhythm isn't just the only thing that they have. They have a whole bunch of other things in there, and you can make a lot of different kinds of lessons that go along with this. This is a great thing because what it does is it just highlights where the beats are and subdivisions of the beats, because I want kids to be understanding the repetition of rhythmic patterns. So, little definition. I did borrow a little bit of a video from somebody because it was good. Why not borrow something? The link to that is in the assignment, so if you'd like to use that, you can. And then we're down here. So standard rhythm notation. I do teach some stuff about how to read rhythms. I use a method called rhythm states, as opposed to 1, 2, and 3E under, or teary, that stuff. I use rhythm states with older kids because the idea is that I want them to understand the actual rhythm itself. I want them to understand that something happens on the beat or between the beat and over beats. And for me to teach 1, 2, and 3E and or any of the other languages, I have to teach them another language on top of the visual symbol. So I want to do away with the visual symbol, and I think that this is a Suzuki technique or some other technique, and come up with some phrases that I want them to use. So I use rhythm states. So Maine, Maine, Utah, Utah, Mississippi, Mississippi, Usippy, Usippy, Mississauga, Mississauga, Arkansas, Arkansas, Arkansas. That's just what I've used. I find it very effective. Kids learn very quickly. There's more on that in my book. But you can also learn about reading standard rhythmic notation as it relates to rhythm states or other things here. So this is a great little video on the grid and how to quantize in Soundtrap. It is available to you.
Hi, this video is a little introduction on how to undo for us to take a look at. The first thing is you'll notice that in Soundtrap I've created regions here, and this is a 1 measure region. You'll see that this is 1 measure and then the...
So the idea about these videos is that students are really learning not just about Soundtrap and how to use Soundtrap, but they're learning about music and rhythms and how the rhythms relate to each other in the context of the software and in the context of creating music. That's what I want them to do, so that they're not just doing an assignment for the sake of doing something to show me you did it in Soundtrap. There's nothing wrong with that, and sometimes you need to, but I like it to be in the context of creating. So quantizing in the piano roll in Soundtrap, that's how you line it up to the grid, and they have a assignment for that. So they're going to record each of the rhythms on a separate track. They have to open the Soundtrap file that I share with them. Why? Because it goes to my folder. Remember, I have 4 classes of intro with 20 kids in a class. That's a lot to try and figure out who's where and whatever. It helps with grading. They have to add their track. They have to slow the click down. So I give them some tips. Record the first rhythm. Here it is, measure 1. Quantize, skip a measure. Record the second rhythm. Quantize, skip a measure. Record rhythm number 3. Continue until you've recorded all the rhythms. Now there's only 8 rhythms here. In a normal live setting, I might have done more rhythms. I might have done something else with them. What I'm finding is teaching online, what you want to do is make a decision about what you want to teach, what you want them to know, and what I might have normally done live, I have to actually cut it in half. Because it takes a lot of time to prepare what you need to prepare to give to them, and then they need the time to review and learn from the video and to try it and to fix it and to do it themselves. It takes them a lot of time. Then you have to get all that stuff back and grade it. Look, if I was looking at this in Soundtrap or any other digital audio workstation, I could take a look at the kid's screen. I don't have to listen to this. I can take a look at the screen and see it in a second, go to the next student, just keep going down the aisle, down the row. It would take me half the amount of time to grade a class for this assignment than it does if I'm sitting at home trying to open the file, get the file to open and load, look at the file, close the file, go back. It just takes longer. It's just the way it is. So save yourself some time, save them some time, give them less. Less is more. Grading, I'll talk to you about my philosophy about grading. Well, it's a little different online. I think kids need, if they're used to me grading, and they're used to grading procedures in our school, and they are. I will be honest with you, I am incredibly generous when it comes to grading, even when I do graduate school and I teach graduate school online. I just think, especially now, kids are stressed. They were completely stressed in the spring and traumatized, I'll be honest. And the idea was, look, let's see if we can't get through all of this together and get through that together. So that's just some ideas and tips. So let's take a look at what one of the student assignments actually looks like in Soundtrap. So I had sent them a link and it went to my folder. I don't want to show you that because I don't want to reveal students' names here, and I want to protect their privacy. But here we are. Josh seemed to have done exactly what he needed to do. So I'm going to double click on this region and it will open it up in the piano roll. And I can enlarge the view here or here. They happen to be connected and it works out pretty good. The colors are automatic in Soundtrap, so I can take a look and see, did Josh record quarter notes and did he quantize? Looks like he did. And the second rhythm, he went a little long there. He held down the piano key, so I kind of like that. He held it down as opposed to getting in there with the mouse, so that's not a problem. But you could reshape these things if you want. He did record quarters and eighths, and I can tell by looking at the screen that he actually played the keys and did that. I might want to come in and show him that you want to make sure that you get all the way to the end of the second measure and a full measure. It depends what your aim is for the piece. They will need to know how to do that because they will want to loop, they will want to copy and paste. You want to keep things in 1, 2, 3, 4 measure phrases, whatever you decide. So I can just keep going and click on these and check it out if I get the right view and if I remember what I'm doing, and I can change the grid. Where is that here? I think, yeah, that's the grid. It's on an automatic grid size. When it's automatic, that means it enlarges and keeps showing you all these subdivisions. This is like 30 seconds there. Who can see that? So since they only recorded quarters and eighths, I can see here. It may be hard for you to see. There's a line there and another line. So they have eighths and quarters like that. Now, if you want to be really particular and make sure they get nice long eighth notes, you can do that. It's completely up to you because that really wasn't an eighth, right? It was a 16th. Right? If I undo that, you'll see, and if I turn the grid to a 16th note, you'll see that that really was a 16th. So it's really up to you to make those decisions about how do you really want your students, because rhythm is duration of sound. You have to do that. It's your decision there. So I can check all this out, and like that, one of the great things is this is the Collaborator button. So I am there, and Josh is the other red dot there, and I will automatically be included as a collaborator in the EDU if I share my file to him, and he uses my file, and then I can write him a little note and tell him what to do for the next time, and good work, and excellent job, and I saved stuff, and we can talk back and forth. Yes, you can video conference with them and call. That's between you and your district, how you want to handle that. But that's the first one, how to record rhythms. Okay, the third lesson. The third lesson is on, you guessed it, that's what they came for, rhythms, quantizing, basic drum beats with regard to understanding and recording rhythms. Again, the assignment overview, yep, they had some time to complete it. And there I am, looking a little happier, I think, as time goes on, fixing my my studio. So this is great. How to choose and play drums in Soundtrap. They have a video. Understanding the beat and the grid in Soundtrap. How do you read rhythms? What does that mean? What is the grid? How do I enlarge the screen to see it? How do I understand what is rhythm notation and how does it relate to the grid? These are all things that they need to know to move along, and we always start with rhythm and rhythmic notation. So you can use standard rhythmic notation. I show them how it lines up in the grid, and understanding 1 and 2 and, if you like, or what I use is Utah, Utah. This little video will show you that. And here is the procedure, which is first and always first. Yeah, so what I've noticed is that kids tend not to log into their school account, their Google account, and then go to Soundtrap. That is the doorway in. They must be logged into their school account, and then they can click on the link. So if they're looking at their email and they get that link in an email, which is why I send it in an email, or if they're in their Google account, they're going to be logged into their school account. And then they click on it, and it will take them and authenticate them through their Google account. So this is the how to record a techno beat. So they have, each one is on 3 tracks. So I did this lesson. I do this lesson all the time. If you've been to any of my sessions, you've seen this before. I just broke it down for them and put it into Soundtrap and I made videos for them to know how to do this in Soundtrap. So they record one line at a time, closed, open, closed, open, closed, open. And in these videos, I show them how to do that. So I'm getting an overview of me playing on the keyboard and showing them what it's like in Soundtrap, so they get to see that. I think that that's critically important. If I was in the classroom, I'd be showing them an overhead of me doing it live. So it would have been the same thing. So I broke it down, techno beat, snare drum, bass drum, and then we have a basic rock beat. And yes, they have to record again, record live. Do I really know if they're recording this snare drum on 2 and 4 or copying and pasting? Well, hopefully, even if they copied and pasted, they chose a different drum track to put it on, but you never know. Again, I'm a pretty easy grader. So every single one of these shows them how to record each one of these rhythmic figures and how to do it in Soundtrap. And of course, this is what they paid their money for, the basic hip-hop beat. So here it is in notation. It's a little squeezed in over here now, but you will have these in your Google Docs and on a PDF. All these files and all the videos are in YouTube, and you have all the links in your resources pages. This is a sample of the student piece for the basic drum beats. And the student recorded bass drum, snare drum, and hi-hat, and this is the techno beat. And again, if I wanted to take a look, I can go in here, and you'll see that drums have patterns. I could change the instrument, and they could see the instrument here. And here's the piano roll, so I could take a look. Again, I could go up to this little cog and decide that really I don't want the automatic grid size. I'm interested in only seeing eighths or sixteenths so that I can see, did the student align and play in the eighth notes. And this is a little cycle area, but I'm going to turn it off and let's take a listen. So you'll notice that the student here actually recorded quarter notes as opposed to the eighth note pattern. I just want you to take a look here. I did not correct everything. You have to, when you're dealing with online and things are difficult, make a decision about what it is you want to correct, because what I did see is that in the next pattern, I like the way the student decided to do their work here, and that is to put the techno, skip a measure, record like this. It might be in the assignment as a suggestion, but here we go. This is the drum set. Yeah, and they can play it back a little faster. Remember, I said slow down the tempo to record, so it's really nice that they did that. You could double click in here and enter the tempo, and then it's one tempo. And you can check the work just by listening. You can't change the tempo in the middle of the piece just yet, but that's the way it goes. So I'm going to get this back into hip-hop land for the student's piece, and we'll take a listen to the hip-hop kit. And what I had to do was the student made a bass drum track. I made a copy, and you can do that. You can click here and make a copy, duplicate the track. So you make a copy and it shows up as a copy. And I corrected the bass drum rhythm, and you'll see here that I did correct the bass drum rhythm at measure 11. They had an issue, and I think the student might have copied and pasted. Or maybe I did. I did it once and then I copied and pasted. But that's how that went. So I muted their track and then showed them what I did here and sent them a little love note there telling them what a great job they are. So that's an example of the basic drum beats. What I've shown you are some basic lessons to get kids started as far as rhythmic patterns, get them started in Soundtrap, how to marriage the two together. I think it worked out really well. I have to say I had a great response from my students. They really seemed to enjoy it. The lessons took a very, very long time to create. I would say I spent probably 2 full days. That's probably between 12 and 16 hours per lesson to copy it out, put it together, to make it right inside the learning management system, to create the videos, to get that going. It takes a very, very long time to do this properly and to have it be effective. And I was really happy with the response and really happy with the results with these classes. Again, I had 4 sections working on this. That's a lot of kids. And of course, I was creating other lessons for 3 other topics. So here we are. This is where we're coming to the final project for this introductory course, was to create the DJ intro. I do have these lessons for you if you want to contact me. The idea is that we're building toward creating drums, understanding drum beats. We do talk about chords. You'll see some chords here. We talk about separating chords in the right hand and the left hand. We talk about panning and how to accomplish that, how to extrapolate a bass line based on your chords, putting in the drums, layering in the drums, creating a moving bass line, how to do a synthesizer, and of course they get some pre-recorded audio. They must record their own audio and their own voice, and we talk about digital signal processing. In other words, how do I treat all of this to make it sound real? So here's an example of one of the students and their DJ drop. It's an introduction for this person, the DJ. So here's Andrews.
EDM.
Yo, DJ walk in the house.
It's hot. Caliente. Fire.
Yeah, it's on fire. Okay, let's take a look at another student's piece. This student, I will admit, has a lot of experience and background with music. She plays and records her own music. She plays ukulele and sings. You'll see her on a video if you go to Composer Showcase and look at some of her work. She's really a very, very talented and gifted young lady. So this is, what somebody who has some background and experience can do, even in an introductory course. She is only a freshman. Let's take a listen.
Check it out. Fire is hot.
Oh yeah.
By Kiwi Crimp Productions. How much fun is that? So I'll be making a video on mixing in Soundtrap, and I'm going to use this piece to get a little bit more clarity and have a few things come out. So stay tuned in my YouTube channel. You can actually subscribe, and that will come to your feed automatically. So she did such a wonderful job. Check her out in Composer Showcase. So thanks so much for being here with me today. It was really a lot of fun to show you everything that you can do in Soundtrap. It's a really great program, and there's really great people behind it and helping out people with the education division of Soundtrap. I also want to thank Dr. Jim Frankel for having us all here today. Thank you for making this wonderful conference. Thank you to Rachel at Music First for helping out and putting this all together. I had a wonderful time. Please, if there's anything I can do for you, for your district, if I can help you in any way, if you need to do some online training, if I can help, please contact me. My email is in the contact there. You can also find me at Facebook at Music Ed Tech on Facebook and Music Ed Tech on Twitter. So I hope to see you all again soon, and have a wonderful, wonderful, peaceful, happy, and very healthy school year.